Hello, my friends, and welcome into the TexAgs Rewind. We are presented by the four-time Retailer of the Year. That is...
Specs.
Yeah, good job. Yes. Nice job. Fan show guys.
Yes.
Matt Browning, Roy May, and over at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, Reese Nygren. I just want to say your name, see how you respond.
Howdy.
Okay, that was good.
Yeah, that works.
How much shopping do you do at Specs?
My wife goes to Specs. I'm not a big alcohol drinker. In fact, I haven't had alcohol since 2006. I know the date, September 6, 2006. But that being, and I haven't had a beer since 2001. September 10th, 2001. How about that?
This guy.
How do I know dates?
I like it. This guy.
I won't talk about my dates. I'm good. No, but Specs is also a great place. Like I go and get closing gifts at Specs.
Yeah.
Like poured champagne for my clients, stuff like that. Like congratulations.
Specs is great. I've been there. All right. Favorite part of the show?
Fan show. Sorry, it just was.
You thought you were the best part of it?
I think we're the best part of the show.
McGee always cracks me up. He's 60 years older than he is.
Yeah. Nygren?
Chris Gordy was my favorite part of the show today.
Okay. Nobody said the owner, the executive editor.
You know what? No, I take it back.
It's too late.
I take it back. You know
he spoke highly about you too.
Do you know what my favorite part of the show was?
No.
David Nunez.
Oh, you know what? I will
Nunez,
say one thing that Billy said was hilarious when he was like, I'll tell you, I'm not going to tell the rest of the world my business. And I was like, that's fantastic,
Because I know where he's going. Because I'm going with him.
Right.
So, anyway, it's the Rewind. Do me a favor and check it, please. I want to do a buy-sell lease because I just did a bird dog spot, and it's kind of a bird dog-ish one. College coaches, you have to go hunting or fishing with. And I'm not going to give you ideal candidates. Maybe they're ideal. But I'm not going to give you Coach Elko, right? I think that would be a cool one to go one. I'm going to give you maybe a little polarizing ones. Lane Kiffin, Brian Kelly, Deion Sanders.
Oh,
let's go.
Well, I know what I'm doing.
OB?
I'm fishing with Deion Sanders. He's well-known as being a very accomplished fisherman.
Yeah.
And that's not a joke.
But I'm thinking about like the conversation, like everything, the whole experience, not just who gets the most fish.
He probably would have a lot to say.
I'll tell you, I think my order is, well, no, it's not. It's probably a little bit different if you're buy, sell, lease, the actual coach.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy Lane Kiffin. I can imagine the
I'm buying Lane
stories
Kiffin too.
that he has are phenomenal. I love his Nick Saban stories that I've heard over the years.
Pretty much anything he talks about minus A&M, I like.
I do too.
But before you got to tell me, like if I'm fishing with him, are we going saltwater or freshwater?
I was about to ask. Like you got to.
Well played.
OB, would that be your first question?
I want to go with Kiffin. I'm buying Kiffin if it's freshwater.
Absolutely. If he would go through all of his aliases and talk about the stories behind them.
That would be so good.
I think
we all are selling BK, right? Brian Kelly?
1,000%. That just seems like a long day.
Chris, let's play a game. Reasons for optimism and reasons for concern. I'll give you a team. You give me some reasons for optimism and concern, all right?
All right, let's do it.
Let's start off with Texas A&M. Give me reasons for this team to be a 9-3, 10-2 team, or worse than they were last year.
Well, they've added weapons around Marcel Reed. I love what they've done in the portal with the wide receiver help that they've gotten. I think the backfield, going to be doing David here in a couple weeks in the middle of summer. I always do my 10 hot takes for the upcoming season. I've already put out there, I think one of my hot takes is that A&M's going to lead the SEC in rushing. I just think that with having Levy and Moss and Amari Daniels and getting Reuben Owens back healthy, I just think that the offensive line's got to do their thing, but I keep looking at what they're doing there, and I think they've retooled this thing, and I think they're going to be a strength this year. I think A&M will lead the SEC in rushing, so I'm optimistic on it. Again, the schedule's it's tough, but it's navigatable. If Marcel Reed takes that next step with those pass-catching weapons that they've added, I think the offense can be the center point of the strength this season. With the defense will be good as it always is under a Mike Elko defense.
Do you think we're going to finally get the 9-game season or the 8-game regular season, or is it just going to be more talking about it?
I think we're moving towards it, but I think Spanky, I heard what Josh Pate was saying yesterday. I'm sure we'll discuss it with him this week. But I agree. Like, you can't they've got to start being able to figure out how to put this thing together like they do the basketball and baseball tournament, where you're seeding teams and you're seeding them based on, and they're getting in the postseason. You're seeding them based on the toughness of conference. Period. Like that's just how it has to be, and there can't be outrage if you're going to do this. If the SEC is going to 9 games, there can't be a bunch of crying and outrage if one year they get 6 teams out of the 16 in the tournament. If it's the toughest league by far, and you start playing these Big Ten games and kind of giving yourself a chance to prove it, then that's that. Like, there's got to be something in there to say, hey, if it just is what it is, you know? Like, if we're going to do this, then we need to see these teams like March Madness does and like the baseball tournament does, where 13, 14 teams out of 16 get in and no one complains because they just know.
Billy, I want to leave you with this one last comment. I just saw David Rumsey's reporting that Charlie Baker says March Madness expansion could come as early as 2026. We're talking about maybe 72 or 76 teams.
I'm done caring about it, David. Like, look, that's fine. I mean, but let's stop patting everyone on the back once. You know, at some point, that tournament's going to be like not a participation trophy, but at some point that tournament's going to come down to, man, you better be in the tournament or you're going to get fired. I mean, it's starting to grow to those levels. But it's fine because the best team is still going to win. You know, the way it's structured it's not. It just cheapens getting in. That's all. And who cares?
Elko was asked about the fade at the end of last season. He's talked about it a couple different times over the last week, and they recognize they have to be better at finishing stronger. I think the answer is obvious, but I'll ask you both. But why, Rollo and Schertz? No, I ask you if you could have it where they won towards the end, you flipped it, right? So the start of the season would have been what we saw in November, all right? We're talking September, felt like November, but they won at the end, kind of like what Florida did, which everybody has their arrow pointing up, or the reverse, which what we saw. What would you take?
I would always take the end, obviously. Doesn't mean going into the next season you're excited. You're like, okay, look, we started this bad, but we really picked it up towards the end. We progressively got better, where we appeared to get worse as the year went on. And so, you know, whether you're 8-4 from a good start and a bad ending, or a bad start and a good ending, you're 8-4 either way. But I think from again, it's all perception. So I was
like the leaning forward in the foxhole kind of thing. You know, honestly, I think you kind of hit it. It doesn't really matter one way or the other. But I mean, you like to see improvement as the season progresses because you feel like that momentum carries into the next season. But what's weird is kind of looking around and hearing some people talk, the arrow seems to be pointed kind of up for us anyways. Like, I kind of feel that, and I think that comes off of us having, you know, Le'Veon Moss going down and kind of ending, just kind of fell apart, I guess, to an extent, you'd say. But people saying, yeah, but the talent's there, he's going to be back. So it feels like there's an upward arrow trajectory, you know, outside of this site, outside of TexAgs. It feels like people are a little up on us, which is...
All right, Nygren, I want you to close it out, but I want you to walk over here, okay? Okay, and I want you to stand on that side of Roy May.
Oh, come on.
I know he knows what to do, okay?
To make sure we're
now,
not cheating.
Want you, there we go. That's a good look, Luke. Tell the people, point at the camera, what they need to do.
Here's what you're going to do, brother. That's what you
and do that voice.
David, please tell Reese to grab his
Give me
mic.
a WWE.
Oh, you left your mic. That was a fail.
Oh.
We'll just do it. Like, comment, subscribe.